Greetings, viewers. Step into the ashes of a burning world, a dark empire forged by one ruthless man. Behold these towering monuments of the fallen. They rest beneath the harsh sun, destroying all human hope. In the 14th century, a storm named Timur destroyed every empire daring to stand in his path. He never wished to rule these lands. He only wanted to burn cities, taking all their legendary wealth. How did a crippled thief become the most feared conqueror in all human history? Let us find out. In 1398, the city of Delhi burns fiercely beneath a heavy, suffocating black sky. Texts record his forces vanquished over 100,000 captives in one single, terrifying day. This was no normal conquest. It was a calculated act of extreme psychological terror and dark wrath. Baghdad's streets suffer a similar nightmare. Crimson rivers flow through the ruined ancient capital. Soldiers must bring back a specific quota of fallen foes to build these truly horrific monuments. These giant towers of bone serve as a grim warning. Surrender now, or face total, absolute ruin. Timur watches the destruction from his majestic horse, draped in golden armor that reflects the blazing fires. He feels no pity for the fallen. To him, the absolute ruin of his enemies is a divine and sacred right. Imagine standing before these mountains of the dead. Would you surrender, or fight a hopeless, tragic battle? Many kings chose to fight, proudly defending their ancestral homes against the massive Turco-Mongol horde. Bravery means nothing to Timur. His brilliant tactics crush every desperate attempt at resistance. He blends the brutal nomadic speed of his cavalry with highly advanced Persian siege engineering. Flaming projectiles crash into crumbling walls, burying thousands of defenders under heavy rubble. The air is thick with the horrific smell of burning ruin and the endless screams of the defeated. There are no peace treaties. Timur demands total submission, stripping the conquered lands of all their resources. He leaves behind starving widows, weeping orphans, and silent, terrifying towers of human bone. European kingdoms tremble as tales of his wrath spread across the Mediterranean Sea. The mighty Ottoman Empire fears this warlord, preparing their vast armies for an endless, tragic war. This dark reign of terror seems supernatural, as if a demon has been unleashed upon the mortal world. But the architect of this misery is a mortal man, born in the harsh, unforgiving steppes of Asia. We turn the clock to the 1360s. In the dry plains of Transoxiana, a dark legend begins. He is not born a royal prince. He does not carry the noble blood of the great Genghis Khan in his veins. Young Timur is a minor nomadic fighter, struggling to survive in a land of endless tribal warfare. During a raid to steal local sheep, his life changes forever in a sudden storm of deadly flying arrows. 2 heavy arrows pierce his body. One shatters his right leg, while the other deeply mangles his sword-wielding arm. Bleeding in the dirt, he faces a tragic end. But his pain awakens a terrifying dark ambition. He survives, but is forever crippled. From that day, he is known only as Timur the Lame, or Tamerlane. Warriors laugh at the limping soldier, but they greatly underestimate his brilliant, wicked mind. Lacking combat strength, he makes up for it with unmatched cunning and dark political manipulation. He learns to exploit rivalries, pitting powerful warlords against each other to build his own dark army. Historians note his charisma. He promises endless wealth to any warrior who swears ultimate loyalty. Slowly, the outcast gathers a massive horde of hardened Turco-Mongol horsemen ready to conquer the world. He claims to restore the Mongol Empire, using ancient traditions to justify his many dark conquests. By 1370, he dominates the region, crowning himself absolute ruler of a growing nation. His genius shines on the battlefield. He leads rapid cavalry charges with devastating precision. Unlike other tribal leaders, he eagerly adopts the advanced siege technologies of his conquered foes. His forces combine swift nomadic mobility with the true power of heavy artillery. He surrounds himself with fiercely loyal generals, men who fear his wrath far more than any enemy sword. Rebellions are crushed with massive force. Timur believes fear is the only true foundation of power. He marches into Persia, bringing a storm of fire and steel that shatters the kingdoms of the Middle East. His soldiers wear heavy lamellar armor, striking down their foes in a highly disciplined, dark formation. He uses spies to spread rumors of his dark cruelty, winning many battles before they even begin. Cities that surrender are spared total destruction, but they are still ruthlessly stripped of their entire wealth. Those who resist face complete annihilation. The men perish, and women are dragged away as war slaves. His vast empire stretches from India all the way to the shores of the Mediterranean. He defeats the Golden Horde in the north, crushing his former allies to ensure no one can challenge his rule. The wealth of the known world flows into his hands. Carts filled with stolen gold endlessly cross the desert. Timur is not satisfied with mere riches. He wants to build a grand monument of his absolute power. He envisions a grand capital that outshines every cultural center in the entire known world. Thus begins the grand construction of Samarkand, a beautiful city built upon the tears of the conquered. As flames consume Damascus and Baghdad, Timur issues a single order regarding the survivors. While the soldiers and citizens are vanquished, the most talented artisans are carefully kept alive. Master craftsmen are bound in heavy iron chains, forced into a brutal march across the deep, vast desert. They are dragged away from their burning homelands, forced to walk thousands of miles toward the heart of Asia. Many perish under the scorching sun. Survivors are put to work building his grand new capital. Samarkand rises from the dusty plains, transforming into a truly breathtaking jewel of the East. Massive domes covered in turquoise tiles reach towards the heavens, reflecting the glorious light of the sun. Palaces hold grand mosaics, while grand mosques feature the finest Persian calligraphy ever seen. Timur oversees the endless construction, limping through courtyards while leaning heavily on his royal cane. He dresses in the finest silk robes, wearing a grand crown that symbolizes his supreme authority. If a masterpiece is born from slavery and death, does its artistic value ever forgive the lives lost? For Timur, the answer is irrelevant. He believes true greatness requires the deep sacrifice of the weak. His court becomes a dazzling display of wealth, hosting banquets where captured kings are forced to serve him. Yet beneath the bright surface of Samarkand, the empire lacks the civil foundation to ever survive long. Unlike Romans, Timur never builds a complex system of laws, roads, or civil governance in his domains. His vast realms are held together by the terrifying threat of his army returning to burn them down. When a conquered region rebels, he simply marches back, destroying everyone to firmly regain his control. It is an endless cycle of extreme violence, an empire that functions solely as a giant machine of war. His greatest triumph comes in 1402 at the fierce Battle of Ankara in Anatolia. He faces the Ottoman Sultan, Bayezid the Thunderbolt, in a clash of two unstoppable empires. Timur outsmarts the Sultan, manipulating the water supply to force thirsty Ottoman troops into a trap. The Ottoman army is completely devastated, and the proud Sultan is captured, locked inside an iron cage. Records claim Timur used the defeated ruler as a footstool, humiliating the great power of the West. This shocking victory creates a power vacuum, fully saving Europe from a sudden dark invasion. The Byzantine Empire, near total collapse, is granted an unexpected 50-year delay. But Timur cares nothing for the politics of Europe. His hungry eyes are fixed on a much grander prize. He wants to conquer the great Ming dynasty of China, the wealthiest empire in the Far East. Despite his advancing age and failing health, the terrifying warlord gathers 200,000 men. Generals try to warn him, but no one dares to openly defy the wrath of the fierce, aging conqueror. The massive horde begins its long march eastward, leaving the warm comfort of Samarkand for the freezing mountains. Timur rides at the front, his frail body wrapped in heavy layers of wolf fur against the bitter, freezing cold. Refusing to let his weakness slow the grand campaign, his iron will pushes the massive army forward. Nature is an enemy that cannot be fought by towering monuments of bone or sharp Damascus steel. In late 1404, a brutal winter descends upon the massive, marching Central Asian horde. Blinding snowstorms trap the army in the unforgiving, icy wasteland of Otrar, halting their steady progress. Freezing temperatures drain the remaining strength from the old warlord. His crippled body begins to fail him. For the first time, Timur cannot stand. He collapses into the deep, unforgiving winter snow. Desperate generals carry him to his tent, surrounding his bed as the massive blizzard rages on. His skin turns pale and cold. The terrifying fire that once burned brightly in his eyes slowly fades away. Even the greatest conqueror in history cannot defeat the quiet approach of his own true mortality. In 1405, surrounded by generals, the brutal architect of a burning world passes away. His death sends rapid shockwaves through the massive military camp. The great campaign to China is cancelled. Without its founder, the giant Timurid Empire instantly begins to fracture and completely fall apart. Because he built his realm entirely on fear rather than solid civil laws, there is nothing left to hold it up. His sons turn their heavy swords against each other, plunging the vast empire into a dark civil war. His terrifying legacy crumbles to dust almost instantly, leaving behind a shattered world. The grand capital of Samarkand begins to lose absolute power over the surrounding regions. Without his endless cruelty to keep them in line, the conquered nations quickly rise in rebellion. The massive nomadic army splits apart, fighting violently for the remains of an empire. Timur conquered half the civilized world, yet he failed to build a lasting dynasty for his heirs. He is remembered today as a brilliant military tactician, but also a monster. Modern scholars estimate his brutal campaigns destroyed the lives of 17 million people. That was nearly 5% of the entire human population living on the earth at that time. Yet there is a strange, unexpected twist to this dark history of endless ruin and pain. By completely destroying the Ottoman army, he accidentally saved Christian kingdoms. The great walls of Constantinople were spared from an immediate siege by the Turkish forces. The Byzantine Empire was allowed to survive for another 50 years because of his war. But this dark delay of execution could never permanently save the ancient stronghold. The Ottoman war machine eventually recovered from the ashes, hungry for vengeance. Timur was merely a violent storm that paused the inevitable collapse of a dream. His massive empire of steel quickly faded away, while the ashes of his victims fertilized the earth. He stands as the last great nomadic conqueror, a terrifying nightmare haunting history. Timur's dark legacy is written in gold and innocent tears. Was he a genius or monster? Did his dark destruction pave the way for a new era, or did it hold back human progress? If you enjoyed this dark journey into history, please like, share, and subscribe for more epic tales.